Hey guys, it's Vinny B with Dead on Board Gaming, and I'm here with our Kayo deck. Let's roll. It's an absolute blast to play. I wouldn't take it anywhere competitive because it really does depend on the roll of the dice. But that being said, if you want to just have a really good time at your armory or just kind of hanging out, this is probably one of the funnest decks I've played in this game. Like, hands down, just fun. Um, KO. So his abilities is when you play an attack action card with 6 or more base, roll a 6-sided die. If you do 1 through 4, it rounds the attack down. But if you roll a 5 or 6, it doubles the attack. And this is the base attack. It's not the full attack. So when you start pumping it, it does it by the base attack. So it's very good to have something that pumps your attack before you attack. Because that way the +4 would be on even if you roll bad. Because again, it's 2/3 of the time you're not going to hit your good attack. The equipment I've been running is Barkbone Strapping. Barkbone Strapping. It's an instant. You roll a 6-sided die and you gain resources equal to the number rounded down. So if you roll 6, you'll get 3. If you roll 5, you'll get 2. But it gives you resources that you can roll dice for. Crown of Providence, I've been running over the Skullhorn because most of our cards are going to discard anyway, so just having that there I don't think is as important as being able to get an extra block for 2. Now, if we play against like a wizard or something like that, that changes for sure, or if I can't think of anything else that I really want to do it for, but I'm also still kind of learning the deck, so I'm sure there's reasons to do it. Gambler's Glove I've been running with because one time a game, you're going to really want to hit what you want to hit, a 5 or 6 on your roll, and this gives you a second shot at it. Bare minimum, it's worth that. It also combos very well with Ready to Roll. We'll get to Ready to Roll, though, because that's like one of the most important cards of the deck. Romper's Club, I'm running that right now over the 2 Mandible Claws. I don't know if that's right. The Mandible Claws give you the opportunity to attack for 5 using Blood Rush Bellow, because Blood Rush Bellow will pump your brute attacks. And this gets a pump to 5 if you already did the discard. So again, if you can discard, have go again, this comes in for an extra 5. So it's 1 less. I think this is right because it's 1 less attack over, but 2 less resources if you can meet all the conditions. And if you don't meet this exact conditions, the claws don't do anything either. They're just 3 attack, and they don't have go again unless you meet the condition. So I think in general this is just a more reliable way to attack because it's 4 no matter what for 2. It has a break point. So I do think it's right. Scab Skin Lenders is one I like to go with because it gives you block 3. It blocks for 2 and then blocks for 1. Once per turn action, for 0, you can roll a 6-sided die, and you're going to gain action points equal to the number rolled rounded down. Again, 6 is a 3, 5 is a 2, but it gives you it goes around go agains and stuff like that. So if they're trying to stop your go again, action points are good. If you have a hand where you're going to be able to do multiple attacks but no way to get go again, that's a good way to try to do it. Let's get into the deck. Bad Beats. So this is a newer addition to what I've been working on, but the red one lets you hit 4, 5, or 6 and gives your next brute attack action card +5. So you have to use an attack. You can't use your weapon. But for 0 and the fact that we're rolling dice, again, we're always trying to do it. +5 is awesome. And I've been happy with it so far. Barraging Beatdown, we're running the whole rainbow. The card's amazing. It blocks for 3. It pumps by 2, 3, and 4. And it has Intimidate attached to it. Very good. The only condition is if it's blocked by less than 2 non-equipment cards, it gets +2. If not, it loses it. But it forces them to block with 2 cards if they want to cover it. So if you're coming in for 6 and they don't want to take any, they would still have to block for 6 or block 2 cards. I guess they can block for 5 also, but they'd have to do 2 cards no matter what to drop it if they're trying not to take any damage. So very good card. We're running Breakneck Battery. This one is just 2, 6, attack, discard a card at random. If it's a 6, get Go Again. If we can utilize Go Again at all, awesome. Madcap Charger has the exact same text, but it costs 1. It comes in for 5. I'm not 100% sold on this just because I don't like not having the 6. But we'll see. It's been good when I've played it. I just don't know if I love it, but it blocks for 3 also. Massacre is in here. Again, if you have a discard or if, Blood Rush Bellow, any way to do a discard, if you hit it, this thing comes in for 2 extras and has Intimidate. It also intimidates if it's pitched, so it has multiple ways to kind of just add to you getting through a bit of defense. Pulping is just kind of a staple in Brute in general. It's 2, draw a card and then discard a card at random. If it's a 6, you get Dominate. The nice thing here is that it draws a card. So you can still play it with nothing in your hand. That's kind of things that you run into with Brute, is that a lot of them just say discard a card, which means you need 3 cards to do it. You need to be able to pay for it, the card, and a card to discard, which makes it... there's a lot of push and pull to it. So you have to take a little extra damage if you plan on playing your turn. In Blitz, it makes it a little harder because Blitz is so fast and so aggressive that sometimes... again, once you start stepping on your back foot and you can't have these 3-card hands, a lot of times it's bad. Pulping kind of fixes that a little bit. Rolling Thunder. This is an awesome card. It costs 1. So if you have a blue, you can play this plus a 2 attack. You roll a 6-sided die. Your next Brute attack is going to get plus X, where it's the thing. And it's Brute attack, so it works on your weapon. That's another big thing, because sometimes when you get into these random discards and stuff, sometimes you kind of get screwed. Having a weapon and this attaching to the weapon's huge. All right, next line, Savage Beatdown. This card doesn't get played very often because it's tricky. You can only play this if you've discarded a card with 6 or more this turn. And then as addition to play this, you have to discard a card at random again. If the card you discard, though, is 6 or more, it gets plus 6, so it becomes a 12. If you double that with Kayo, it's 24. It's a combo in itself if you can get it off. It costs 3. Again, there's a lot of push and pull to this, but if you can get this into your arsenal and get it off within 2 turns, I think it's actually very worth it. And if you can Blood Rush Bellow it, it actually goes to 20... What? 20... Wait... Hold on. So 12, 13, 14, be 28. Blood Rush Bellow. If you can get Blood Rush Bellow this and KO to go off perfectly, it's 26 damage. Let's just take a second. Think about that. I know, again, a lot of things got to go right, but that's the whole point of the deck. Is you just gambling yourself away. But, you go to a 3-round armory and you just have a hot streak at all. Like... just mob people up. It's been so fun. Learning this deck has been so fun. Then we're running Skullcrack. When Skullcrack is discarded at random, you get to gain a resource. So it's a 2 for 6, so that meets the criteria we're looking for KO. Because again, at bare minimum, this is a card that you can... It's a 2-card attack for 6 that could be 12. Could be 3. Most times will be 3, but could be 12, which keeps us kind of moving. I guess that's why Madcap Charger's good, is because it doesn't actually get hit by that tax. Because it won't spin, it won't roll for KO. So actually, maybe using that a little bit more, like the weapon and things that pump the weapon versus that might actually be pretty alright. Yeah, I'm kind of with that. Big Swing, another just amazing attack. It comes in for 8, costs 2. If it gets covered up completely, though, your opponent gets a Quicken token. But it's coming in for 8. It's going to involve almost their entire hand, if not their whole hand. And again, with KO, this could just be a 2-card 16. Again, amazing. Beast Within's one of these combo-ish cards. You almost always want to discard this over attack with it. But again, it meets the criteria. It's a 6, so it could be a 6, 12, or 3, which is just kind of what you're looking for. You always want to try to just come in with extra power. So again, 2-card 3 or 2-card 12 is kind of like the high floor for us. The low floor is, of course, 3, which sucks. If you have a bad game, it feels terrible. When you have a good game, it's hysterically great. Period. But if this would be put in your graveyard from anywhere other than your combat chain, banish the top card of your deck and lose 1 life. If it has 6 or more attack, put it into your hand. Otherwise, repeat this process. So I'm not 100% sure. I gotta kind of figure it out. But on Talishar, this combos very well with the next card, Berserk. Until end of turn, whenever you discard a card at random with 6 or more, banish it. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. If it has 6 or more, draw a card. So I keep trying to figure it out. So you reveal with this, it banishes. You draw a card. This would also draw a card. If this goes off twice, you end up drawing 4 cards, I think. That's kind of what's going on. Is if you Beast Within and it draws 2 cards with Berserk. No, that doesn't make sense. See, I feel like Talishar has a bug in it. I'm not 100% sure because I can't figure it out. So if you know, please let me know in the comments below. But I draw 4 a lot with it, and I think it might just be bugged because I can't read both of these and put together how it works. I keep trying, but either way, it's very good. You can at least draw 2, maybe 3 off of this exchange. And then another one of the most strong cards in the deck, Blood Rush Bellow, costs 1, blocks for 3. As an additional cost to play it, you have to discard a random card. Your brute attacks get +2 this turn. It doesn't have Go Again. If you've discarded a 6 or more attack, draw 2 cards, and it gets Go Again. So you really need to set up your turns with this to make sure that you're always going to get rid of the 6 card. If you're not going to for sure get rid of the 6 card, unless you absolutely have to, I wouldn't play this card. Wouldn't play it. I would put it in my arsenal. I would figure it out. But what you want to do is you want to get to the point where you pitch, do something that pumps your next attack, Blood Rush Bellow to pump it by 2 more by making sure you discard that, and then coming in, and if you hit KO, again, this is when you get into these 26 to 28 damage turns that are just absolutely just amazing. They're just amazing. Savage Swing's a little bit newer too, but it's a 1 for 6. Again, meets the criteria, and you just discard a card when you attack. But it is a 3-card thing, so this could be on the chopping block. I don't know if it's good enough, if we can find better cards. But right now, I settled on this. The yellow is a 6. It gives us the little extra resources and kind of moves on. We'll go backwards this way because Ready to Roll and Reckless Swings are the 2 most important cards. Wrecker Romp is coming here. It's a blue 6. You can't beat blue 6s. As an additional play it, you just discard a random card. Nice and easy. But it's a blue, so it's a resource card and meets the criteria for KO, so it could be a 2 for 12 plus a 3 resource, 3 block. One of the best brute resource cards you can have. Tear Limb from Limb is also a bit new. It's been good when I've got to play it, but a lot of times it's like, oh god, I have a 0 block. We also had what was it called? Wild Ride in here. I took that out for the same reason that I'm talking about this. I don't know if this stays, but I do think it's one of the better blues that could be in the deck. So yeah. Still messing around with it. If you guys have a suggestion for this card, again, just let me know. Because I'm still messing with it, but I really have been enjoying the hell out of this deck. Reckless Swing, this is how you're going to win 90% of your games. You're going to get them down to a low life total, 2 or 1. And you will have Reckless Swing at 1 point. You're going to block with everything but a 6 out of your hand, and you will end the game with block 4, discard a 6, deal 2 unblockable damage. Now, it's not completely unblockable because of things like Respite and things like that, but this card is very hard to deal with. And again, because it's a reaction, you get the block to make sure that you hit what you need to. You just overblock. So again, cards that don't have block make this a little harder to mess with, and another reason that I might want to get more away from them. But at the same time, we're gambling, you know what I mean? So you might as well gamble with the best of the best. Reckless Swing, though, is kind of your finisher. It is what it is. And then the card that makes this deck really hum is Kayo Specialization Ready to Roll. It's a blue pitch, 0 cost. If you would roll 1 or more dice this turn, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. Go again. This is the card you want to play before you do anything. If you can do anything with rolling dice, with that in your hand, it increases your chance of going off by a lot. As a matter of fact, if I do end up, wouldn't mind coming in with maybe even another dice roll card, but not really. No, I don't want to oversaturate. I think I like it. Bad Beats, Rolling Thunder, and then KO all together. I don't know. Sorry, started a tangent I didn't need to start. But Ready to Roll, again, makes this deck hum. Gives you extra chances at hitting every single roll you do. So if you have this plus Ready to Roll, or Rolling Thunder, a blue and a 6 that you can play in your arsenal or not, you get to roll basically like 8 dice through the whole exchange. Hopefully pumping by, let's say, 3 or more on your Rolling Thunder, doubling your attack. And if you have Gambler's Gloves, sorry, I keep saying I want to stop that. If you have Gambler's Gloves, it'll allow you to do it again, so you get to roll 2 more dice, trying to double your attack. So you get 2 of these, and both times you have these, the best scenario you can set up is what you're looking for, because you have a great chance, a better chance of hitting your KO activation, which again is where you're going to kind of like win this game. Because getting them down to the low life total is what matters for Reckless Swing. Go to the sideboard real quick. We have Skullhorn. This got Archive Barrier 2. It also allows us to draw a card and discard a card at random. This can turn on our Savage Beatdown, which is the big one that can double thing. This, for free, can turn on that attack once. So there is something to say about doing this over Crown of Providence. I have enjoyed Crown of Providence more, but again, I'm not into all the nuances of the deck, so maybe there is definitely an argument for this to be there. Skull Crushers, I'm actually back and forth about this. Like I said, there's always the one turn you really want to hit, so being able to roll the dice twice sometimes is crucial. But if you're not going to roll a 1, sometimes this thing will just pump for like 2 or 3. For 1 or 2 more realistically. It's like 1 or 2 throughout the turn. And again, when you roll your KOs poorly, but maybe you rolled your Scab Skins, maybe you rolled something else, this can give you extra pumps. So your 3 becomes maybe a 4 or a 5. It has that break point and still deals damage and gives a little more of a threat. When I run Skull Crushers, most of the time, unless I'm just looking for the extra defense, I almost always run or always roll the boots. Because if you hit a 5, you get 2 resources and a pump on your next attack. So just something to think about. I think you do just kind of push towards rolling as much as possible with the Crushers until they're gone. I have this Mandible Claw here because I'm not sure if we're running double Mandible Claw or the club. Tunic can probably go. Tunic probably doesn't need to be here at all. I haven't found a situation where I think this is important. We are winning or losing the game probably pretty fast, because if we're missing KOs, they're more than likely not blocking and coming in with full things. And again, once you kind of step back as a brute, that's kind of where you run into the trouble, at least from what I've been learning, is once you can't have a 3-card hand and you have to block a little heavier, it gets a lot harder to get through the game. And again, that's why you have a couple attacks that are like Pulping, where you draw a card, discard a card, because it's very important. And matter of fact, I might try to up the amount of those type of cards if there are more that exist. I'm pretty new to the Brute class in general, but if I can find 1 or 2 more that draw the card and do it so you can play it as a 2-card hand, I think that's actually a bonus. Beaten Trackers might be better than Scab Skin, but It only lets you do it once. It goes away from rolling dice. So maybe there's like a combination. So maybe it's like trackers with what the heck's it called? So trackers with gambler's gloves and my brain is not working. Scab skins with skull crushers. That might actually be a good idea. Maybe that is something I should look into. You know what I mean? Like pairing those two together might be a good idea. Tunic can go so we can have mandible claw and club in here. Again, trackers, I think there's an argument for just pairing those with the different arms. And then Arcane Lantern is going to give us our 3 Arcane Barrier. Not sure. I think it's just a crazy race because, again, if you're blocking, you're kind of hurting yourself. You can only block one thing. And if it's going to be your resource card, we don't have a ton. So maybe we don't need the Arcane Barrier as much as I think. Maybe we just have to go for it and try to just make it miserable. But I don't know. Wizard's tough. The extra turn's very good. But that's where we're at. This is the deck. I hope you enjoyed this. If you guys have any suggestions or anything, let me know in the comments. And again, take it to your armory. I'm taking it this week, I believe. As long as I can put together all the cards, I need a Beast Within. I think my buddy's going to let me borrow it. I'm bringing it, man. It's a barrel full of laughs, man. Like, again, it does feel kind of shitty if you roll like a bunch of like 2s and 3s and you like just get completely smoked out of a game. But the games that you get to like do things that are just like ungodly, and they're just like, what are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, it makes up for it. It makes up for it. So I'm gonna have a really good time this week, and we're gonna play this. I try to play the deck I show off that week. I try to bring it down and play it down there. So guys, thank you guys again, and as always, thank you for being the best community in gaming. And I will catch you guys next time and see you on the play video.